inside to the opening drive. Nick Kosko and Mike Antosiewicz here with you every Wednesday morning. Bit different today. We're coming out a little earlier, 7:45, and we'll take you up to 9 o'clock. Got to give Mike his 15 extra minutes of airtime before he has to cut out early because your class took a group vote to make this class earlier in the morning?
Yes.
You must have said, my God.
I know. But it happens. So
it happens. We live in a democracy, so they're allowed to do that.
Well, sometimes.
Sometimes. In any event, we still have a show to do, and we have some extra time to do it. Talk a lot of Rutgers Wrestling. We'll talk about the Big Ten tournament coming up as well. We'll slip in some other things, too. Briefly mention some baseball. The Red Sox got J.D. Martinez finally. There's some free agent signings starting to fall. I'll give my little commentary on the NBA All-Star Game, which improved its format, but I'll give you my opinion on that since that happened over the weekend, and the NBA is looking to resume now. But, Mike, we always start with Rutgers Wrestling, and that's what we're going to do again today. The season, at least the dual match season, is now over.
Dual meet season.
Yes, the dual meet season is now over.
Not the dual match season.
Did I say dual match season?
Yes, you did.
All right. I need more coffee right now.
It's okay.
Dual meet season is now over.
Yes.
As I sip some coffee. Rutgers finishes 8-7. We were out in Wisconsin. We were out in Princeton. They got big wins. Wisconsin, they earned it. Princeton, they flat out dominated. Finished 8-7. Over 500. That's now the 12th straight year they have done so. Every year under Coach Goodell, they have finished over 500. That's the good news. Even better news, Big Ten tournament's coming up. And I think we are excited for that. We'll be out there at Michigan State. But now is where you have to see where the guys are at. And we don't have the allocations out yet. Should be out at the end of the week or by earliest next week, Monday or something. We have to see where each Rutgers wrestler falls in terms of their seed, their positioning in the tournament, and if they have a clear run or they're going to have a tough run to get to the NCAA tournament. There's a lot of factors. Obviously, we're going to look at Nick Suriano is number one. Some of these guys, we know they're going to make it. Other guys like Mike Van Burl, Joe Grello, Razan Gross, we have no idea. It's all going to depend on where they're seated. And I'll tell you what, right now I'm projecting 6 bare minimum, 7 most likely, but 9 I'm going to cap it off at how many guys Rutgers can get to Cleveland.
Listen, I don't think there's any scenario where Rutgers actually brings more than 9 guys, which means they bring all 10 because, at 197 pounds, and this is no disrespect to Anthony Messner, but that he is going to he's not going to be able to make it to nationals. He's probably going to be seated. Because he beat the Illinois kid, he will be seated second to last at the Big Ten tournament. So 197 pounds is off the table. That leaves a maximum of 9, obviously. You said a bare minimum 6. Yes, why is that? Because pretty much Rutgers has 6th ranked wrestlers, right? If you look at it, they have 125, 133, although DeVecchio just dropped out of the rankings for some weird reason, but still ranked all year. So
yeah, that I don't get. I mean, he finished the year with 2 more wins. I don't think he did anything. I mean, unless they really thought the resumes for the guys below him deserved a ranking over him.
I don't think it was a
The problem was he was at 20, so there's a chance for that to happen if guys below him get bigger wins towards the end of the year.
So that I think that's what happened. I don't think it's DeVecchio's drop was anything that had nothing to do with DeVecchio. Had more to do with the people immediately below him. But again, 25, 33 are going to get in to nationals. Then you look at a 41. That's a wild card. 49, 57. Although Van Brill has been up and down this year, he should get to nationals as well. He's ranked right now, so that's 4. Just in the first 5. You look at to the second 5, the 5 upper weights. Richie Lewis is definitely going to make it to nationals. So that's your 5th wrestler. You don't know 74. That's the second wild card. Gravina is definitely going to make it to national. 97, is not going to happen, barring some. I mean, really historic
some historic of historic proportions.
Right, and then heavyweight is the last wild card. Now, as we said, 6 bare minimum. I said that I think 7 probably will be the minimum because I think between between Grello, Mike Van Brill, and Gross, one of the three makes a run to get in. I just feel that one of the three should get in. And I certainly think that there is a serious possibility of two of the three getting in. I don't see three of the three getting in. It never works out that way. You always need some luck, and luck never always falls your way. Always falls your way. It might fall your way once or twice in a tournament, and that means maybe it helps Grello in one match and it helps Van Brill in another match, and Gross gets left out. You never know, but as of now, I think that 7 wrestlers. If somebody said bet money on how many wrestlers will be going to nationals for Rutgers, I would bet on 7. Again, 6 bare minimum, and it wouldn't surprise me 8, but I would be very surprised if 9. I'd be very surprised.
Yeah, I would be surprised too. I really don't. I don't think. I mean, again, no disrespect to Anthony Messer, but he is up against the gauntlet at 197. And if we're looking at it, I mean, Flow Wrestling put out their Big Ten seeding projections, and one thing of note, if they project the seeds 1 through 14, that means they expect that weight class to get more than 8 allocations towards nationals. And I'm looking at 97 and 285. You might have 8 or even less, depending upon the allocations, because they only projected the top 8 seeds for both weight classes. And plus, Mike, I'm looking at 197. At the top, they're going to have. I mean, it looks like it's going to be Shakur Rashid from Penn State to get the spot. He wrestled this past weekend, and that's what Cale Sanderson said. Likely the guy who wrestles this past weekend is going to get the spot at the Big Ten tournament. So it looks like Rashid will be the number 1 seed according to their projections. Colin Moore falling behind because he did lose to Anthony Cassar, the other Penn State 97-pounder. And then I'm looking at other guys: Hunter Ritter, Kevin Beasley, Cash Wilkie, Christian Brunner, Zach Chaconis, and Eric Schultz. I mean, that is a gauntlet of a weight class for Anthony Messer to make some noise. He might be able to squeak by in a first-round match. But after that, Mike, I mean, it's like pick your poison. Who would you want out of that? I mean, there's a lot to handle there at 197.
Absolutely, and like for example, Cash Wilkie number 5 right now, for the 5th seed.
I'm pretty sure he's ranked. He's a top 8 wrestler in the country too.
Yeah, I think exactly. That was my point. I mean, and the brands have said multiple times this year that Cash Wilkie could do something special. Unfortunately, in every match, he's had the opportunity to actually do something special. He's come out short. Rashid beat him more, did a nice number on him, and he also lost to Beasley of Michigan. So he hasn't hit his streak yet.
No, with that, and I'm looking at these seeds, Mike, and we mentioned the guys who we think are going to get there. I mean, obviously, Nick Suriano, we expect to get there. He's the number 1 seed. We almost expect a Big Ten championship out of him. I mean, looking at those seeds, he's right now. I would say, and I pretty much agree with these two. He's 1, Lee's 2 from Iowa. Nathan Tomasello from Ohio State is 3, and Sebastian Rivera is 4. We might see another Suriano Rivera matchup in the semis, and then this is a good spot for Suriano, Mike. We'll kind of go down the list a little bit. It's a good spot for Suriano if he's the number 1 seed, because then in that case he'll get Rivera at best in the semifinals, who he's already beaten twice this year and actually really handled the second time around. And then that means he avoids the other studs in Spencer Lee and Nathan Tomasello until the finals, where he's only going to have to face one of them. And I think the number 1 seed is warranted for Nick Suriano. He hasn't lost this year. I get Spencer Lee is also undefeated, but the fact remains, when Rutgers wrestled Iowa, Spencer Lee did not wrestle, and also Suriano won Midlands, while Spencer Lee actually did lose a match at Midlands before he was before he burnt the red shirt. But Spencer Lee did not get to the Midland Championships. Suriano won that. So I think, based on those tiebreakers, Suriano should be the number 1 seed, and I believe that should be the best case scenario for him, because it gives him an easier path to win a Big Ten title.
Yeah, if you could avoid, the worst situation would be, Suriano 1, Lee or Tomasello 2, Rivera 3, and then Lee or Tomasello 4. Because that means you would have to face Lee or Tomasello in the semifinals, and then you would have to face Lee or Tomasello in the finals, and it would just be an incredible run. In this current scenario, of course, you only have to face one of them, and that will be in the finals. But there are some of the tricky matches. Ethan Lezak is out there.
He can knock off Rivera. I think so. possible.
absolutely. I mean, he was a national finalist last year, Ethan Lezak. So, and he made a run, honestly, if you remember, Nick.
Yeah.
At the Big Ten tournament.
He did.
I mean, that's when it all started for Ethan Lezak. So there's no evidence that suggests that he can't do it again this year. So between Lezak and Rivera, those pose dangers to Soriano. No one else really, I think, is capable of the upset unless Soriano really has a bad day. But now it's going to be really interesting to see what happens in the Big Ten tournament because fact of the matter is there is a I think that between the Big Ten championship and the national championship this year, there's over 50% chance it's going to feature both matches, the triad of Soriano, Lee, and Tomasello.
Yeah.
So it might be Soriano. Soriano in this scenario is definitely going to get to the finals. Again, barring some catastrophe, that means Lee or Tomasello, and then it could be in nationals. It could be Tomasello, Lee, or Soriano Lee or Soriano Tomasello again. You really don't know. So
yeah, I mean,
it's gonna be really interesting
as we get closer to the.
But it could even be that the Big Ten championship is a repeat of the national championship is a repeat of the Big Ten championship.
Yeah, without a doubt. I mean, when we get closer to nationals, we'll discuss it more. But obviously, you have to look at Darian Cruz from Lehigh in the NCAA tournament. The guy is the defending champion. He's currently the number 2 ranked wrestler. So we'll get more into that as the tournament approaches. But yeah, this is the best scenario for Soriano. Avoid Lee or Tomasello till the finals. You're only going to get one of them. You've already beaten Rivera twice, so get by him. I mean, they're in some good. He's in a good spot right there. 133 right now. Delvecchio, the 5th seed. Remember, these are based on projections. We don't have the official seeds yet, but I mean, Flo usually does a good job of kind of projecting where these seeds are. The only thing I'm going to say where it's going to be a little dicey, the 2 through 4 spots. I'm looking at it right now. They have Pletcher, from Ohio State. They have him at number 2. He's only beaten Micic and Delvecchio for key wins, but he also split to meet. He actually split matches with Micic, and they have him at number 1 because he has more key wins. But then you look at below Pletcher, McKee has only beaten Delvecchio and Keener, and then Renteria has beaten Lance, Griffin, and Delvecchio. So I would say maybe 3 and 4 could switch, but I think Delvecchio is probably going to be firmly slotted at number 5 because he lost to all the guys above him. But I think Mike
again, and that McKee match was disgraceful because he was up, he had multiple takedowns, and then that Renteria match, he didn't even show up that match. I mean, that was one.
Match. Was it 14-11?
Oh, it was terrible.
Back and forth.
It was absolutely terrible.
So what I'm going to say about this, Mike, I think we know he's capable of beating McKee and Renteria. I mean, Delvecchio could finish as high as 3rd. Because Flo only projected their top 8 seeds in this weight class, I'm thinking we're going to get 8 or 7 guys from 133 to nationals out of the Big Ten. But I think Delvecchio is more than capable of doing that. I mean, at least he's going to finish 5th. I think he can handle Keener. He obviously can beat Dylan Duncan and Paul Glynn from Iowa. But I think, Mike, he's definitely capable of knocking off Renteria and McKee, and he can finish as high as 3rd in this Big Ten tournament. And if he does that, he's going to have he might be seeded for nationals if he could finish 3rd in the Big Ten.
Yes. Yeah, that could certainly happen, yes.
When you look at those matchups, Micic and Pletcher, that's likely your final. But it's going to be interesting to see if Delvecchio can go on a run.
Which is just going to be such an amazing match.
Yeah, it will be. The 3rd meeting between those two basically the rubber match.
What's wonderful right now is that 125 pounds, let's say it's Soriano versus Lee Tomasello. That's probably that could be the national final. 33 pounds. This could also be the national final, except Seth Gross isn't in the scenario. But I mean, again, this could certainly be the national final.
Of course. Fletcher. Yeah, I agree. But Delvecchio, I think, is in a good spot. 5th seed seems right for him. Let's go to 141. Now we have to get into the situation where because we expect Soriano and Delvecchio to get to nationals. Mike Van Brill is a complete wild card right now. Flow Wrestling projected all 14 seeds, and they put Mike Van Brill at 13 because he has really no key wins, although we know he beat Carter Happel, but right now it looks like it's going to be Vince Turk as the guy for Iowa. Actually, I'm really going to double check. I could have sworn he beat Vince Turk, but we know Mike Van Brill has a win over an Iowa wrestler at 141, but nonetheless, he is ranked 13th out of 14 according to Flow's projected seeds, which means we're looking at maybe 9-10 guys out of 141, Mike, from the Big Ten getting into nationals. And I'll tell you what, Javier Gaskin's not what he was last year, and he went on a little bit of a run to get to the finals last year in the Big Ten tournament before he ran into the buzzsaw that was Anthony Ashnault. He hasn't really been as good this year. Ryan Deal, who's a good wrestler, but based on how Mike Van Brill can wrestle, I think we could say he could knock him off. And then once you get past those two guys, Mike, that's where the challenge comes in for Mike Van Brill. Does he get a Vince Turk in a match that decides who gets into nationals? Does he get a rematch with Eli Stickley? Does he face Sal Profaci for the first time? Profaci hasn't even been doing much this year. I mean, Mike Van Brill can get by the guys ahead of him, but he's going to have to put together the consistency that we need to see out of him. Because he, despite the fact that he has been good in some spots this year, Mike Van Brill has been inconsistent, and that reflects based on his record. So, I mean, in your mind, do you think he can go on a bit of a run here and maybe get that last spot, maybe get that 9th place spot, or at least finish in the top 10 to get to Cleveland?
Yes, because I believe that he could. If you go back to that, and actually now we'll check.
He beat Carter Happel 3-2.
He beat Happel. If you look at the seeding right now, he's 13th. If you look at everyone, but from 8 to 12, so that's Gasca, Deal, Stickley, Profaci, Turk in reverse order.
Yeah, going from 12 to 8.
I think he could beat. I think he has a realistic chance of defeating any of those wrestlers. Certainly, Gasca's not himself this year. He should have beaten Deal in the first match of the year. Could have beaten Stickley. Profaci's nothing to be amazed at. Vince Turk, it took him all his season to get the spot from Carter Happel, and Carter Happel lost to Van Brill. So, again...
Well, look, at least according to Flo, Vince Turk has lost to Mike Van Brill. I can double-check that, but...
Yeah, that was in Midland. So
that was...
Van Brill
he's beaten them.
Van Brill beat Turk, but then he had to wrestle Happel, and he lost to Happel at Midland. So he wrestled both Iowa 41 pounders.
That's right. Okay, that's right. So there you go. See, but he's 2-1 against those guys, so he's capable. And if Vince Turk's going to be that high, I think Van Brill is capable of knocking off the guys in front of him. Just say it's top 9, Mike. He's going to have to end the tournament with a win. And I guess based on these seedings, I'm not sure who he'd face first. I'm going to say, because it's 14, I think they're going to I think the bottom 4 will wrestle in a pigtail or a first round type of match. I'm not sure how the brackets are going to look this year. But I would say Mike Van Brill is certainly capable of knocking off a guy like Javier. Say if he faces Javier Gasca in the first round, I think he's more than capable of knocking him off. And then he gets, I don't know, I think he might get Cole Weaver or Nate Limix he'll get Nate Limix of Purdue or Cole Weaver of Indiana in the second round. But I think Mike Van Brill is certainly capable of winning that first match to get himself in better position to get through the wrestleback rounds and finish in a spot where he gets to Cleveland.
Yes.
I think so. 149. They've only projected the top 8 seeds, so it's going to be a tight one at 149. LA's are DeLuca. Right now they have it 5th. In front of them are Zane Rutherford, Brandon Sorensen, Ryan Deacon. I think we can assume the top 3 are going to finish in that order. I mean, you never know. Deacon's been great this year. He's lost to Sorensen and Zane Rutherford, but that's pretty much it. Deacon could... I could actually see Deacon knocking off Sorensen, but we know Zane Rutherford's going to win this weight class. Colton McChrystal's at 4. He's beaten DeLuca. Correct me if I'm wrong, Mike, but that match was close between DeLuca and McChrystal when Rutgers faced Nebraska?
Yes.
It was close, so there you go.
But, one thing about DeLuca, and I'd be negative, but he might be a little too highly ranked, because if you look at it, he had that...
He lost 7-2 to Cole McChrystal.
But, if you look at it...
I agree with you, because he beat Keyshawn Hayes based on 2 throws.
Based on 2 throws. That was kind of a fluke, let's face it. And then if you look at the McChrystal match, the Deacon match, and also the Kolodzik match, he really didn't have any offense. He didn't look like a threatening wrestler, a guy that could really score points.
Well, we know his offense is throws.
So
or controlling you on top.
So I do think he's a little, right now I think he's top 12 in the country. Yeah. So now Kolodzik is 11. Mm-hmm. He's 12. I don't think he really is that high. So he could be a danger for Rutgers to place lower than what his seed suggests, but. I still believe that he will certainly get to nationals.
I think based on his ranking alone, that's going to help him out, just in case if he doesn't finish in the allocated spots at the Big Ten. But I'll tell you what. I mean, he's Mike. I think at worst he is 6th in this weight class, at 149. You know, if he's not going to beat Rutherford, he won't be certain. I mean, he wrestled Sorensen really well when Rutgers faced Iowa, but he's not beating those two guys. Ryan Deacon seems like he's going to be the next big thing at this weight class. Colt McChrystal kind of controlled him, but you never know. That could flip the other way. Keyshawn Hayes, I think we could agree, was kind of a fluke, but I mean, let's give DeLuca a little credit. I mean, he had to hit 2 big throws, and he made it happen. You know, I get 1 fluky, but he hit 2. He hit 2 big throws to make that happen. So, you know, 5 or 6, probably where he's going to end up. I think he could beat Bannister and Malik Amin, but it's going to be interesting. It's going to be very interesting, but I think we can both expect him to get to nationals. 157 here. We'll go halfway, and then we'll take a break, and we'll come back. 157, Mike, they seeded the top 8 so far, according to Flo's projections, and we have no John Van Brill. He has split meetings with Lagendorfer. Did he beat Lagendorfer this year?
No.
He did not. No. So that was go back to last year. So he lost to Lagendorfer back in their dual meeting against Illinois. It was kind of a surprising loss. He lost a close one to Jake Short. He split meetings with Andrew Cronin, lost a close one to Tyler Berger. So, you know, if everything goes right for John Van Brill, Mike, John Van Brill should be as high as the 5th seed right now, but he's outside the top 8 due to his losses to Lagendorfer and Short, and he split matches with Andrew Crone. But he's certainly capable. He's back in the ring. He's 18th, so that should warrant him some consideration for nationals anyway if he has to go to the wild card. But I'll tell you what, Mike, he's very capable. He could beat Lagendorfer. I think he could beat Jake Short, and he can certainly beat Andrew Crone again. And who knows, maybe he can knock off Tyler Berger and finish 5th. John Van Brill is capable of maybe finishing 10th, maybe between 10th and 5th. Just based on if the top 4 seeds are chalk, you know, I think we're going to see John Van Brill, the better John Van Brill in the Big Ten tournament. He ended the season on a right note, and we know just by talking to the coaches, he's an emotional wrestler. The guy is a wrestler who, when he gets hot, he stays hot for a while. But then when he gets cold, he'll stay cold for a while. But right now he's hot, Mike. And we mentioned that saying, strike while the iron's hot. I think this is a time for John Van Brill where he is going to show up at Big Tens and he'll earn his spot in Cleveland.
Yeah, and also he is ranked right now. He'll be in the wild card. Yeah, I agree with you. He could get to top 5. Berger doesn't do anything really amazing for me. I think, you know, there's a chance he could beat Berger. He already defeated Crone. Short, I think, is a guy he could definitely beat. And Langendorfer, eventually it's going to happen that he beats him. So I believe that he could place as high as top 5. I'm thinking probably 7th place for Van Brill.
So you think round 7th for John Van Brill?
That's my guess.
That should get him in. I'm pretty sure. I'm going to say 157 is going to get the top 7 or 8, but he should finish up there. And like I said, he should get a wild card anyway if he falls a bit short. The weight class is tough. And also, Mike, I think what's going to help out here, because I still don't think Jason Wolf is going to wrestle. They have Jason Wolf slotted as a 2 seed, which is probably because he technically lost a match. It was injury default to Van Brill. So that's not really going to help out his criteria much. They're going to say, okay, it was an injury win for Van Brill, but he did knock off Jason Wolf technically, and he was wrestling him well anyway. But the fact that he's not going to, if he doesn't wrestle, that's big because then it creates one more opening. Because Nolf is not going to be able to place, and he'll have to get a wild card spot. So it actually bumps everybody up. So it gives a chance for Van Brill to finish even higher. But I think Michael Kemmer is going to run the weight class, so he's not going to finish first. But I mean, he could knock off some of these guys and be in a better position. All right, we're going to step aside, and we're going to take a quick break. On the other side, we will discuss more Rutgers wrestling. We'll go through the second half of the weight classes and preview this Big Ten tournament, which comes up in 2 weeks. Not this weekend, but the following weekend out in Michigan State on the campus in East Lansing. So we're going to step aside. Make sure to keep it locked. Listen here to the opening drive here on 88.7 WRSU FM and online at WRSU.org. Welcome back inside the opening drive. Nick Kosko, Mike Antosiewicz, every Wednesday morning. Now 7:45 to 9 a.m. Giving you folks 15 extra minutes of our wonderful voices, and of course my wonderful voice in the morning when I'm still battling stuffy nose, sore throat, even though I'm technically not sick. I think it's this change in weather, Mike. I'll tell you what, we go from really cold, and yesterday it was over 60. Today it's 62 when I woke up. I think it's going to push 70 today, and we're still in February. We are still in February when we have this nice weather. It's very nice. I'm not complaining. I'm wearing shorts today. But this is not good for my health. I need consistency. That's what I need. I don't know about you, but I need consistency with my weather. Are you as drastically affected by this as I am?
No, as long as it doesn't snow.
Yeah, I think we're done with snow. I certainly hope so. All right, in any event, back to Rutgers Wrestling. We'll continue our projections here for the Big Ten tournament. Look ahead. It's gonna be easier next week when we have our show, and we're gonna be able to determine. We're gonna be able to better determine where things are gonna lie because we'll have the brackets in front of us. We'll at least have the seeds at that point. So we'll go to 165, Mike. Richie Lewis, right now projected to be 4th. I think that's proper. Marinelli 1, Martinez 2. I think that's interesting. Vincenzo Joseph at 3. And then Lewis at 4. I think Lewis is probably going to be slotted at 4 because he beat Evan Wick, he beat Wanzak, he has beaten Isaiah White, he has beaten Deshaun Campbell. Who else has he beaten? He has beaten Michael Sepke. Not that that's a big win, but he's beaten all these guys. He's only lost to Vincenzo Joseph and Alex Marinelli twice. But I find fascinating, I think we expect Lewis to make a semifinal run and then likely finish 3rd or 4th, and he'll get a top 8 seed at Nationals, most likely, maybe not. But here's the interesting thing, Mike. I think we can kind of put that aside. I think we know where that's going to lie because I think we know he can beat Marinelli. He can beat anybody. I would think Richie Lewis could beat anybody in this weight class. He just has to be able to do it now because he's lost to Marinelli twice and he's lost to Joseph. Didn't wrestle Martinez. But what I find most interesting by Flo's projections, they have Marinelli ranked ahead of Isaiah Martinez right now based on seeds because Marinelli has beaten Joseph, he's beaten Lewis twice, he's beaten Wanzak and Massa. I don't think Martinez has as many wins this year, but he's also not lost this year. I guess Marinelli has more quality wins, but with them not having wrestled each other, I would still slot Martinez as the number 1 seed and put Marinelli 2. I don't know about you.
I don't know. If you do look at the wins Marinelli has, though, it is thoroughly impressive. I mean, yes, Massa's down right now, but did beat Wanzak, did beat Massa, did beat Vincenzo Joseph, although he was losing that match until he kind of pulled off I guess you call it, it wasn't even a throw, it was a trip, a bear hug. But I think it's fair. Let me tell you one thing. I think Martinez definitely beats him. I don't think there's any doubt about that. I think Marinelli's good. I think he could win a national championship one day. He's only a redshirt freshman, and by the time he's a redshirt junior or senior, he most likely will be a national finalist.
I'll tell you what,
he's very good. But I think Martinez could beat him. I think Joseph beats him again. I think what's going to be really interesting is the Joseph-Marinelli rivalry because Joseph is a redshirt sophomore. Marinelli's a redshirt freshman. So they're going to have 2 more years after this year against each other.
To go at it.
Yeah, that's going to be really, really fun. It's going to be like the Nolf Isaiah Martinez 2.0. It's going to be like that rivalry 2.0.
Yeah. Well, what I'm going to say, Mike, is I think you're mostly right about the number 1 seed. Maybe the guys who are seeding this bracket here are going to give Martinez a little more credit, and they're because he's a 2-time champ. But if we're going to go based on just this season, and just look at Martinez's track record this season, he hasn't wrestled many matches. He's beat Evan Wick, he's beaten Nick Wanzak, good wins, but he didn't wrestle Marinelli, and he didn't wrestle Vincenzo Joseph either. And the fact that Marinelli has wrestled a lot of these guys, I know he didn't. I know that him and Martinez didn't wrestle, but Marinelli has beaten Lewis twice. He's beaten Wanzak as well as Martinez did. But he also knocked off Vincenzo Joseph, who Martinez's last loss was to in last year's NCAA finals. Because Joseph has that loss and Martinez is undefeated, I think you rightly put Martinez at 2, Joseph at 3. I guess Marinelli can warrant the number 1 seed, but here's what's interesting, Mike. Lewis should get the 4th seed. Now, say we have chalk to the semifinals. You have Marinelli Lewis part 3 in the Big Ten semis, and Martinez Joseph, a rematch of last year's NCAA finals.
This might be the most. This has to be the most interesting and exciting bracket in the Big Ten tournament. Lewis is certainly capable of knocking off Marinelli for the third time around. We could see Lewis in the finals against Martinez or Joseph. If he gets Joseph, he was very close to beating him last time. If he gets Martinez, they haven't wrestled each other yet, but if Lewis gets to the finals, there must be something different. I'm telling you what, if anybody's going to win this weight class, it's going to be one of the top 4 guys.
I don't know.
You think somebody outside the top 4 can win the weight class?
Yeah, I think Massa could if he turns it on. I think Wanzak could. I think Evan Wick could.
I think
they will? No.
I think if anybody's going to do it, Mike, it's going to be Logan Massa.
And Isaiah White has lost a lot of very, very close matches. Maybe he pulls something out.
No, I get it.
So,
I mean, this weight class is stacked. I mean, Deshaun Campbell is the 9th seed right now.
And it's amazing. If you look at Deshaun Campbell, he looks like a national champion. His physique, it's amazing.
Yeah. I mean, he was a good wrestler at Pittsburgh. He transferred in. And I'll tell you what, he's a good wrestler. And it just goes to show you how deep the weight class is when he's the 9th seed right now, according to these projections. But I'm telling you, I think that the champ's going to come out of the top 4. And like I said, if anybody can make a run out of the top 4, I think it's going to be Logan Massa. Because the guy was a national semifinalist last year. We know he's a great wrestler. He's just a little off this year. He's lost to Marinelli, Wanzak. He's lost to Vincenzo Joseph, lost to Evan Wick. But he's beaten Deshaun Campbell, and he's beaten Isaiah White. So, I'll tell you what, he can make a run. I don't think Wanzak or Wick can. Wick's very talented. So is Wanzak, but I don't think they're going to make a run to the finals. I think Massa can, but your champ is going to come from those top 4 seeds. And I'll tell you what, this is going to be the best case scenario for Richie Lewis to make the finals of the Big Ten tournament. If Richie Lewis makes the Big Ten finals, Mike, he might be a top 5 seed at nationals if he at least makes the Big Ten finals.
Well, if you go on to Intermat and
Let's take a look.
If you look at that weight class,
it's stacked. Martinez, Marinelli, Joseph, all Big Ten guys, top 3. McFadden's 4, Marstettler's 5, Chad Walsh is 6, Lewis is 7.
Well, listen, this is the issue. Are Walsh and Marstettler in the same?
They are not. They are not. Walsh and Marstettler are they're in the same conference. Yes.
Okay, so one of them is going to drop because one of them is going to lose to each other. McFadden's going to win.
I can't see anybody challenge.
Lewis
top 5. I think if he makes the Big Ten finals,
yeah, top 6, top 5.
Well, if you take a look, if you look at it, if he makes the Big Ten finals, he'll knock off Marinelli, who's number 2 right now. Let's just say hypothetically these are the seeds, and we have the top 4 in the semis. He would knock off Marinelli. That would certainly put Lewis, I would say, into the top 6, because it would drop. I think Marinelli would drop below everybody after that, in terms of, because he would lose in the semifinals, and then you get Martinez or Joseph. Say Martinez wins and Joseph gets the second loss, Joseph might drop. So you might have like a Martinez 1, McFadden 2, and then you're going to have Marstettler 3, maybe Joseph 4, Lewis 5. You might have something like that. I think Lewis can get a top 6, top 5 seed if he at least makes the Big Ten finals. There's a case for it. Obviously, if he wins, you make the argument he gets the top 3 seed, top 2 seed, if he wins the Big Ten tournament. Tournament.
Again, there's just a lot of questions.
Of course.
But it's amazing how good this
is. It's interesting, though, because I think besides Soriano, Rutgers' best chance at a national championship is Richie Lewis, albeit in a more stacked weight class, because we haven't seen – Lewis hasn't been number 1. Soriano is number 1. I think we expect him to be in the running. Lewis can come out of nowhere and be in it, or he could finish – in the bottom part of the top 8 at nationals.
Or it could even finish like 14. It's not –
it's not out of the realm of possibility.
Exactly.
So – but if Lewis happened to win the Big Ten tournament, I mean, do you think he could be? I think if he wins the Big Ten tournament, I don't think he's going to be the number 1 seed because he has 3 losses. I think McFadden would end up being the number 1 seed as long as he wins his conference. But I would say if Lewis is the Big Ten champion, I think you got to put him at 2. Do you not? I think you got to put him as a 2 seed.
2-3.
2-3. There you go. The words of wisdom from Mike Antosiewicz, everybody. Let's go to 174. Grello is not within the top 8 in terms of projections. The only guys in front of him right now I see are Ryan Christensen and Joey Gunther. Mike, I think he could beat both those guys. He should have beaten both those guys. This is going to be interesting to see how Joe Grello gets in, because if 74 is skinny in terms of the top 7 or top 8, and Grello's going to have to beat one of those guys, but he's certainly capable of beating Gunther and Christensen. As far as Skatska, I don't know. He's got a lot of big wins over the guys below him. I say Grella could finish as high as 6th, but he could also miss the tournament completely. But if you look at it, he has to beat Gunther. I think he has to at least beat one of those two guys, Gunther and Christensen, or if not both, to get to Cleveland. Correct me if I'm wrong here.
Maybe.
I think he's got to be at least one
both.
of them. He's got to be at least one of them, if not both.
Honestly.
I would say both. I mean, what do you think? I think 174 might get top 7, maybe only top 6. So it's gonna be really hard. But
his best bet is to finish in
7th,
the top,
or at least finish top 8.
Also, his best bet is the easiest way to do this is
win.
Is that he places within the allotment and gets the nationals automatically. The other way to do it is you finish top 10 in the weight class, and
then you see what happens.
And you,
for all we know, he could be the 10th guy right now anyway.
Yeah, well, you finish top 10, and along the way you beat somebody considerable, But then he probably would finish higher than 10. I don't know. Listen, he's definitely on the outside looking in for nationals. Let's just put it that way.
So he's gonna need some wins. Let's just put it that way. He'll need some wins. 184, Gravina slotted in at 5 right now. Makes sense. He's lost to Nickel. He actually did not wrestle Miles Martin. Didn't wrestle Dominic Abonere from Michigan. And he lost to Emery Parker 2-1 at Midlands. Did not wrestle on the second time. Willie Scott actually did. I'll tell you what. I think Nick Gravina is more than capable of knocking off Emery Parker the second time around, Mike. And we haven't seen him wrestle Abonere. Did he wrestle Abonere last season when we went to Michigan?
Who?
Gravina. Did he wrestle him?
I think so, yes.
I'm not sure.
I don't remember. Was Abonere injured last season?
I think he was wrestling when we were there, and then he was not. Or actually, no, he might have been injured all last season.
Yeah, I think him and Pantaleo were both injured all last season.
All right, there you go. So, in any event, I think Gravina could finish top 4. I don't know if he could beat Abonere, but Gravina is certainly capable. I mean, Mike, Gravina is not one of those guys. He's certainly capable of beating the best guys in the country. I mean, I don't think he can beat Bo Nickel or Miles Martin. But, hey, he took Bo Nickel the distance and only lost by a point, and arguably should have won, or at least sent it to overtime. So Gravina is capable of beating anybody. But if we're going realistic expectations for the tournament right now, he'll make nationals. He'll finish top 5. He could finish top 4. I think Gravina his projected seed is right around where he's going to finish. People still have Taylor Venz ranked ahead of him in some polls. I don't get that because Gravina pretty much handled him, and Gravina obviously handled Ricky Robertson as well. He can beat everybody below that too, including Mitch Bowman. I think Gravina is going to finish 5th or 4th. I mean, what about you? I think that's right around where he's going to finish, and he might get a top 8 seed at nationals as well.
Yes,
because there are some stacked guys right there.
Oh, yeah.
The top 4 are within the top 8 of the entire country.
Yes.
And Gravina is currently at 9th, so he's right there.
And they play some in front of Venz, but I'm telling you, Venz is so good, and I think in a rematch, this is nothing against Gravina, but I think there's a likelihood that Venz wins.
But you got to remember, didn't Gravina beat him, 7-1 or something like that?
You understand, Gravina got a takedown with his pass by in literally the first 10 seconds of the match, and then it was just downhill from there for Venz. Now you have a match where Venz is not going to get fooled by the pass by. Gravina doesn't get an early takedown.
It's not that he's going to get
fooled.
It's not that he won't get fooled by the pass by anymore, Mike. But you got to remember that's Gravina's go-to move. And I know we were talking about it last week after the match against Wisconsin. We talked about it with Coach Pritzlaff. If there's one move that Gravina is going to use to win a match, if he needs to win a match, it's going to be that pass by. And we know when he hits it, you cannot stop it, even though you know it's coming, because he'll keep grinding it. He'll keep going to the upper body. He'll wear you down. We know Gravina is deadly with that. He might have one of the best pass bys in the country, without a doubt. Not too many guys have a better pass by than Nick Gravina.
Yeah, but not too many people win national championships or Big Ten championships because of a pass by.
Oh, I'm not saying he's going to win a Big Ten title or a national championship. I'm saying that'll be good enough to beat Taylor Venz again. That's all I'm saying. I'm not saying he's going to knock off the top guys in the country to win a Big Ten title. 197, Mike, and also heavyweight. Only projected seeds are the top 8. We mentioned Anthony Messner before. He's probably going to be around the 13th. He'll probably be 13th, to be honest with you, because he only beat the kid from Illinois. I think it was Andre Lee. Other than that, I think maybe we can expect Messner to win one match, and then from there he's going to have to He's going to have to wrestle some hammers. I don't think we're going to be able to see Anthony Messner in Cleveland, unless you said before, unless something miraculous happens. But other than that, I think we can expect Messner to go out maybe 1-2 in this tournament. It's just too stacked. Shakur Rasheed right now from Penn State is the number 1 seed according to these projections because he's beaten Wilkie and Beasley, but Colin Moore lost to Rasheed's Penn State teammate in Anthony Cassar. I mean, there's just so many things going around. And Colin Moore seemed to be the prohibitive favorite all season long, Mike, and he's right now likely going to be the 2 seed at 197. So 97 to me is just too stacked. I think we can pretty much rule out Metzner unless, like we said, something crazy happens and he goes to the wrestleback rounds with guys falling off. I mean, you never know, but I think this is more like a Dylan Payton situation a la last season.
Nick, there's not a lot to analyze here. Let's just put it that way.
You could at least say, yes, Nick, you are right, because that was a good connection you made, because I almost forgot about Dylan Payton last year.
Yes, you remember Dylan Payton. Congratulations.
There you go.
There's not worth entertaining the problem. I'm sorry, but
we can,
not to be negative. But
we can give. I mean, we got to give the people what they want. I mean, we need more of you on this show too. You can't hear my voice all morning.
Well, I don't want to spend it talking about the prospects of 197 pounds.
You don't have to. You could have made a comment on the rest of the wrestlers, and we're talking about the tournament. We're talking about the tournament here. You can make a comment on the other wrestlers as well. You know that. Plus, you only have about 10 minutes left, so I mean, we got to get the people what they want. More Michael Antosiewicz.
Oh, absolutely.
That's what we want. Heavyweight.
It's like I drive the cars off the road and or into the other lane.
You know when people are listening to Howard and they have to pull over because they are laughing so hard, they're pulling off the road just to not hear you anymore.
Exactly.
That's what we're gonna do.
Exactly.
Heavyweight, Mike. I mean, it's gonna be tough for Gross to get there, but I think we can both agree he might have an outside chance.
Here's a prediction: Hamida beats Sam Stoll. How about that?
What? Are you serious?
Yes.
That's interesting.
I'm not very impressed with Sam Stoll. I don't. He's lost all the big matches this year. He beat Jennings, big deal, and Streifel.
Big deal. Gross should have beaten Streifel.
Exactly. So, and then in the big matches, he's lost to
Kuhn and Nevels.
He lost to Kuhn at Iowa, and a match they needed to win in order for them to win the dual meet, and they lost anyway. And he lost to Nevels, and Nevels had a pretty good match against him. So
I'll tell you what, Nevels is.
But I have said all year, this is another prediction where Mike Antosiewicz prediction turned out right, that Nick Nevels is really, really good. Not that you've disagreed. I'm not pointing this at you, but so that doesn't shock me. But yeah, I say Mita has a great chance of beating Stoll. And
who do you think's winning the Big Ten? I think Snyder.
Oh, Snyder.
I know Kuhn beat him, but second time around, Snyder's not going to let that happen
He's
twice.
not flying on any planes lately. He's not.
Oh, he's just at college now. Like he'll be back.
He's just at college. He has some time off because he doesn't have any duels. I mean, he's
fine,
and he's pissed off because
to say the least.
It's just
he lost.
I mean, this is like an eventuality. I mean, something really major would have to happen. I think Connor Medbury is a better wrestler than Adam Kuhn.
You think Medbury of last year is better than Adam Kuhn?
Yeah.
Interesting. Kuhn's great.
I'm not saying Kuhn
I know
great,
you're not saying
but
you know what I'm saying?
Medbury, if you look at his physique, it was remarkable. He was athletic, really athletic. I've talked to the Rutgers wrestling coaches about Medbury, and they all said the same.
Yeah, he's a freak athlete.
Freak athlete. And that doesn't take away anything from Kuhn.
No, and I'm not saying.
I think if Snyder could dispose of Medbury that easily, like he did twice last year in the Big Ten tournament and then in the national tournament, I think he'll definitely beat Kuhn this year.
Yeah, I think he's going to beat Kuhn as well. I mean, Kyle Snyder still is the best wrestler in the world. The guy's an Olympic gold medalist just from 2016 now, about 2 years ago. But here's my thing, man, I'm just playing devil's advocate with you with just comparing Medbury and Kuhn. Medbury was what, about 260, 270? I mean, he really filled out. I don't even think he might have not been that big, about 250, 260.
Medbury was like, no, he was like 275.
Was he?
Yeah.
So
that's why I'm telling you, he was remarkable.
Okay, so that's an easier comparison for me because then you look at Adam Kuhn, that dude's like about 275, 280.
Yeah.
Kuhn fills out almost the entire weight class, and he's also freakishly athletic. I get Medbury looks like he's more physically dominant, but Kuhn makes up for it in intelligence and technique, and he uses all of his 280 pounds. And I get he caught Snyder off guard a little bit because Snyder's doing all the international competition while he's wrestling in college. But you look at Kuhn and Snyder. Kuhn had the perfect game plan to neutralize him. All you need, you get that one takedown, and then you use your defense to prevent Snyder. But Snyder is vastly undersized for heavyweight in college, at least. But of course, Snyder makes up for it for tremendous wrestling, tremendous strength, and quickness. But I digress. Snyder, Kuhn, finals. Nick Neville, Sam Stoll will get there. Hamida will get there. Your top 5 will get there. Here's where it gets interesting, though, Mike, because we saw Razan Gross get hot last year and win those close ones. Gross won his last 2 matches of the year, and I get he beat Ben Stone, who's going to be the dead last seed in the Big Ten. He's from Wisconsin. And then he beat Princeton's heavyweight, whose name is now escaping me. He beat him as well. Beat him in overtime. And I get it probably shouldn't have went to overtime, but Gross, I watched that match again, Mike, and I get it was against Princeton's heavyweight, but you look at what Gross did in that match, he finally wrestled a bit like a heavyweight. He used that front headlock. He sprawled down to the mat. He used that to his advantage. Not saying he could do that to a guy like Hamida or Riley Streifel, Sean Strick. I mean, but he now is wrestling more like a heavyweight, and we've seen him get hot before. And the fact that he's beaten Conan Jennings twice, I know he lost to him this year, but he beat him twice last year, including once in the tournament, which arguably should have gotten him into nationals last season. I would not be totally shocked if Razan Gross can knock off Streifel, who he only lost to by a point. I would not be shocked if he beat Sean Strick, but I mean, I haven't seen him. He's beaten Deuce Recall and Jensen from Nebraska, lost to Jennings. Gross would have his hands full a little bit with Jensen, but he's beaten. But you know, for key wins for Strick and Streifel, they put Deuce Recall in there, and they even put Streifel key win Razan Gross. I'll tell you what, Gross I think could knock off Streifel and Strick, and if it's top 7 for the heavyweight weight class,
you said before like what I think it was 57. How far Van Brel could go. It's actually the same thing. I said Van Brel could go as high as 5. Actually, Gross could go as high as 6 because he's not beating Hamida. He's not going to beat Stoll. He's not going to beat anybody. No. 5. But he could go up to 6.
Would you be totally shocked if he just knocked off these guys and finished 6th?
Yes, because he hasn't done anything this year that has led me to believe that.
So you'd be totally shocked.
I would be shocked if he finished as high as 6. I would be. Well, you would have to,
of course,
wheel me out.
Well, all right. So let me put it this way then: would you be totally shocked if he knocked off a guy like Streifel and Strick and had a chance to clinch a spot by getting to the 5th, 6th place match? Would you be totally shocked if he was in position?
No, I wouldn't be shocked if he's in position. But again, actually winning a spot, which would suggest that he.
It could arguably.
Oh my God! Look, it's Tim Catafamo.
Oh, he's in the house today.
And
it's an early day for him.
He's wearing, this is wonderful. He's wearing jeans and a tucked-in long-sleeve shirt.
That says Vermont. Very nice, Tim. Very nice. So he's in the house.
Well, you know, he just came from gathering hay up and tying the bales and throwing them up into the tractor.
Oh, he smiles.
If you don't tuck your shirt in, you know, God forbid, you know, you get hay scratches your stomach or something like that.
I wonder if he's hot today. It's warm out, Tim.
There's a real reason.
Hope you have a T-shirt, Tim. It's hot out
Come
today.
in here, Mr. Califano.
No, he's busy. Let him.
Let him come in. I enjoy this.
Where'd he go? Oh, he's walking around the newsroom. I forget.
He's playing hard to get. He loves this.
Hey, he does. So going back to this, Mike, I think I'd be surprised too. But you'd be totally shocked if he finished 6th.
He has not been clutch this year.
No, he hasn't.
He hasn't been consistent. And now you're telling me, not you, but you, the indefinite you. You're going to tell me, oh, he's going to win 3 matches? No,
believe you me.
He could listen. If he wins 2 out of the 3, but doesn't get it because he loses that last match to Jennings or something like that, or Strick, then that's
and he's in a situation this year, Mike, where I thought he might get a.
Catafamo.
I don't know what he's doing.
Hey, Tim. Hey, look at him. How brazen is he?
Well, here's one thing, Mike. I don't think Gross is going to be in a position this year to get a wild card.
No,
unlike last year.
No, because last year he beat Jennings a bunch of times. He had the wins.
He had the wins last year. He does not have the wins this year. He's a little bit over 500. What's he doing? Tim's going to put the paper down. Oh, he's coming in. Mike eventually gets him in here. He's coming. Here comes Mr. Califamo. Host of NASCAR Today. You can catch that later today.
Host of NASCAR Today.
Yeah. How are you, Tim?
Okay, let me just say first off this morning, I don't know what the big deal is with what my attire is. I'm trying to tape an interview. That's what I'm here for early.
Okay.
Ordinarily, I wouldn't come in this early.
Okay. Can you reveal who your special guest is today?
I can reveal. It's Tom Jensen. He's a former NASCAR reporter, and now he's an assistant curator at the NASCAR Hall of Fame.
He doesn't come in this early because, again, he wakes up at 5.
Daytona 500 recap today, Tim?
Yeah, we're going to talk about that.
He wakes up at 5 to pick corn.
What time does the show today, Tim? 11?
11 o'clock.
Make sure you stay tuned for that, folks, or tune out and then come back in. I don't care what you do. Just tune in for Tim's show.
This is my final 2 minutes.
So I got to pre-record. I got to tape the interview at 9 o'clock. So that's why I'm
okay. Very good.
Yeah, so absolutely. I will be using. So don't go out and screw up my interview.
No, I'm not gonna screw up.
No, I'm not talking. Wasn't talking to you.
Why would you see, Tim? You think I would really do that to you?
I don't know. You made fun of my attire.
Yeah, but
Aren't you hot? I'm wearing
Yes,
shorts today.
I actually am fairly warm. Actually, I made a mistake in.
Are we
my dressing
pushing?
this morning.
What's the temperature outside? 70 now.
It is 70 degrees. It's going to go up to 75 today.
today?
Wow,
Yes.
75.
Yeah.
I might go short and a t-shirt today. My goodness.
So, you know, we people from the Midwest need to know the weather pretty frequently. So
Yes, you do.
I stay on top of the weather.
Exactly.
He literally goes outside with a thermometer at
Have
5
the
a.m.
locusts come yet this year, or you're expecting the plague?
So anyway, so I got to set up out there. So I'm
Okay,
gonna
very
set
good.
up and have a good rest of your show. All right.
I appreciate it. Tune in for
You know,
NASCAR today.
That might have been the most
11 a.m.
interesting thing Tim ever had to say.
Oh yeah,
Really?
You think so?
Exactly.
Thanks for coming in, Tim.
So wait, so let me get this straight. You've been talking about wrestling for 40 straight minutes. You're
Yeah.
not going to change topics?
Well, I have to leave
There's a
now.
bunch of other.
actually,
there's a
an hour.
bunch of
I
other-
literally have to leave.
Oh,
right
you're going
now.
to leave now?
Actually, an hour. We start our show earlier now at 7:45. I don't know if you
'cause I
realize.
have to
Oh,
leave at
really?
7.
I
didn't
I
know.
have to
That's
leave
news to me.
I have to leave at 8:40.
I was listening to my car. It's 8 o'clock, but I thought you
we
guys started.
we
at
took
7.
we took a break around. I mean, we came back on about 8:15. So I mean, that's where we had
Ciao,
to change
Tim.
toes. And Mike's
I'm
gonna
leaving.
leave now. Mike's leaving
I
now.
leave now at 8:40. If you're
Because-
a regular listener to this show, you would know that.
I do regularly listen.
I
That's
mean,
news to me.
I mean, it only started last week because
so there you go. I mean, it's only last week.
because Mike has had to go to Princeton for a class, and his class.
Yeah, I saw
vote-
your article. You're all over the front page of our website and everything.
Yeah, I know that. Yeah, now
Which
Rutgers
is like,
Rutgers likes to
you know,
blow you up on
major
their website, Mike.
Thank you for the congratulations, Tim.
So Mike's gonna leave, and we'll end it on that note in terms of wrestling because I guess Mike, we can both agree that
Let me
we're not gonna be shocked if Gross is in position,
let
but
me
we'll be
just
shocked
say
if
this,
he gets there.
Let me just say this.
Oh, here comes
Yes.
an insult.
Have a good interview, Tim.
Okay, thank you.
Have a good interview.
Thank you.
Ciao, ciao, people.
All right, Mike, take it easy. Tim, thanks for coming in for a few
Thanks,
minutes.
as always, Nick. Thank you.
Of course, NASCAR today at 11 a.m. Tune in for that. Tim has who do you have on again, Tim?
Tom Jensen.
Tom Jensen is going to be on the phone today for Tim, pre-recorded, but he'll be on the phone today with Tim as he now strolls his way back into the production studio to finish off and record that interview. All right, well, that's going to do it for wrestling. We'll come back, though. We'll take it up to 9 o'clock. Just me now. Got me solo as we've had a very interesting show this morning. Starting 15 minutes early. We get Mike in here. We're all over the place. And, of course, we get Tim in for a few minutes. So we're going to take a quick break. On the other side, I'm going to make some comments. I'm going to give you a little update what I think about the J.D. Martinez signing to the Red Sox and how it compares with the Yankees and those lineups going down here. And then I'll talk about the NBA All-Star Game. I get it was this past weekend, but I have a little bit of a commentary on that. And then we'll wrap up the show, and we'll see you again next week. So make sure to keep it locked. Take a quick break. You're listening to The Opening Drive here on 88.7 WRSU FM and online at WRSU.org. Welcome back inside The Opening Drive. Nick Kosko just solo now. Mike Antosiewicz is out, off to Princeton for his class. Mike Antosiewicz just got a scholarship and admission to Cambridge, full scholarship. Congratulations, Mike, once again. Excited over the air. So good for you, Mike. He'll be a Cambridge man come next fall. Full scholarship, studying the classics, getting a master's degree. My esteemed co-host, as Tim stares at me from the other booth. Going to get into some baseball now, and you'll have me solo right now. A little commentary on the Red Sox, my Boston Red Sox, and you may be thinking, how are you a Philly fan of the Eagles, Flyers, and Sixers, but like the Red Sox? Well, I started watching baseball. The Red Sox were on. My dad hated the Yankees, so I rooted against them. Who were they playing? The Red Sox, 03 ALCS. And sure enough, the Red Sox lost. So I said, oh, you know what? I'm rooting for this team. Hopefully they do it again next year. And sure enough, beat the Yankees in 04. That is how I became a fan of the Red Sox. Do I root for the Phillies? Absolutely. I like the Phillies. Phillies are a good team. And they're on the up and up. They really are. But here we go. Red Sox finally strike gold in free agency. They signed JD Martinez, who had a tremendous year with the Arizona Diamondbacks last season. And this was the prize free agent for the Red Sox to go after this year. It was him, Eric Hosmer. There was rumors they would go after both. Also rumors they would not sign either one of them. And it seemed to be, this was a long time coming for Martinez and the Red Sox to come together. It almost seemed like the Red Sox were not going to be able to sign him. They brought back Eduardo Nunez. That was their biggest signing until they got Martinez yesterday, officially. So when you look at it, there was talk that Martinez, his agent, did not want anything to do with the Red Sox anymore because they were quote unquote lowballing him maybe. But then you look at what they gave him. Good deal, 5 years, $110 million. I believe those are the numbers. You know, that's the proper deal. It's around. I'm pretty sure that's around what Eric Hosmer made. With oh my God, where did he go? And now I forget where Eric Hosmer just signed because I was so disinterested when he signed and it wasn't with him at the Padres. He's now on the Padres, so good signing for the Padres. But now with Martinez, the Red Sox have a much better lineup. It's essentially the same lineup as last season, but now you have a year of development with some of these guys and a chance for some of the guys like a Mookie Betts, a Xander Bogaerts to bounce back. So let me break down the Red Sox lineup real quick. Projected possible lineup here. Mookie Betts leading off in right field. Pedroia is not healthy right now. I would expect Eduardo Nunez to get the bulk of the starts early on, and then they would split duties. Pedroia is the clubhouse guy. He's been here for a long time. He's been here for over a decade. He's the captain of the team. But I think for production's sake right now, you have Eduardo Nunez at second base, and then you look at Andrew Benintendi, who had a great season last year, and the dude is really, really young. He was in consideration for Rookie of the Year last year, obviously won by Aaron Judge. I mean, when you're a rookie and you hit 50 home runs, you're probably going to win the Rookie of the Year. So, Benintendi is there, batting third, and then this is where JD Martinez comes in. He'll be the DH, batting cleanup, the former spot that was vacated by David Ortiz, and the Red Sox have struggled to find the replacement for Ortiz, who had a monster year back in 2016 to end his career. So, JD Martinez fills that hole. And then at first base, you're going to have Mitch Moreland, who they brought back, or Hanley Ramirez. Ramirez could also go into DH as well. He'll do a little bit of both. Xander Bogaerts is the shortstop. Rafael Devers, I think, is going to be the full-time third baseman now. And he had a nice year the second half of the year as a rookie, and he came up big in some spots. And he's a very young kid. I think he's only 20, 21 years old, so he has a lot more time to develop. And a full year now, a full spring training, and a full season for him could pay off. Jackie Bradley Jr. is back in center field, and of course they'll round it off with Christian Vasquez at catcher. So that's a pretty good lineup. If you go back to what Mookie Betts did 2 years ago, it was a great season for Mookie Betts. He was in the MVP consideration. He was also helped out the fact that he had David Ortiz protecting him in the lineup as well. So that's why Mookie Betts went off, and he was second in the MVP voting to Mike Trout. Eduardo Nunez, very solid when they traded for him last year. Benintendi, I think, is going to keep getting better. He was fantastic as a rookie last year. And you look at JD Martinez, obviously the big bat of the lineup for the Red Sox. Look at what he did last season. His 2017 totals with Detroit and Arizona. 45 home runs, 104 RBIs. And he batted over 300. 303. Better than Stanton. That's better than Stanton. Stanton may have had more runs, I believe more RBIs, but the batting average is there. If Martinez can put up those types of power numbers with the average, you might have to say Martinez, you can make the argument. Now, I get Stanton is a huge bat, and it's going to be helped out because Aaron Judge is in the lineup, and the Yankees are kind of stacked as well. But let's look at the lineups here. You look at the leadoff guys: Mookie Betts, Brett Gardner. I mean, I know I'm a Red Sox fan. I have a little bit of bias, and I hate the Yankees. But I'll be fair with these comparisons with these lineups here. And I get this is likely your AL East race here between the Yankees and Red Sox. It could be your ALCS. Houston's still a great team. and Cleveland's still hanging around, but this could possibly be your ALCS, and the World Series will be on the line between the Sox and the Yanks. I'm going to give the edge to Betts over Brett Gardner, so let's calculate it here. Let's see who has the advantage in the lineup. I'm going to give Betts over Gardner. You have Judge and Nunez. If Judge is bats second, so obviously that's Aaron Judge. Aaron Judge is a stud, but can he keep it up? That's my biggest question. Can he do that again? Not saying is he going to hit 50 home runs again, but can Aaron Judge be that productive and not have that midseason slump, which basically cost him the MVP last year? That's going to be interesting to watch this year. Or pitchers always figure out these hitters. It's only the truly great ones that keep it up. So I'll give the edge to Judge right now, obviously, over Nunez. Greg Bird, Andrew Benintendi. Kind of close, but I think Benintendi's the more valuable player. If we're going to talk terms of offense, I think Benintendi is set to take a bigger step. I'll give the edge to Benintendi. Now it gets interesting. Martinez or Stanton. Martinez, based on the stats alone, is better than Stanton. Is more valuable because of the average. Home run and RBI, if you look at the power numbers, could favor Stanton, but also could favor Martinez in some spots. If you go between Stanton and Martinez, to me it's a toss-up. It's just going to depend on how the production lines up in front of them, and can the guys in the lineup ahead of them help out the cleanup spot here. So it's going to be interesting. So let's say they split that. I have to give it to one. Right now, I will give it to Stanton for the Yankees. So we're at a 2-2 split right now in terms of who has the advantage in the lineups between the Yankees and the Red Sox. Stanton is great. Martinez is great. But it honestly can go either way, because Martinez hits more for average with the power numbers. Stanton just gives you those bombs. He can hit. Stanton's one of the best hitters in the game. And it certainly helps out that he's going to have Gardner and Judge in front of him, as well as Greg Bird. So I'll give the advantage to Stanton right now. So we're at 2-2. Now you look at Mitch Moreland, Hanley Ramirez going against Gary Sanchez. If we're going to go down the lineup, we're not comparing. If we go position by position comparison is a little bit different. But if we're looking at what's the advantage in the lineup here, if we're going to go by where they're slotted, Moreland/Ramirez against Sanchez, I'll give the advantage to Gary Sanchez. So we have a 3-2 ahead for the Yankees. Moreland hits for average, always hits doubles. Ramirez is very streaky. Sanchez is consistent, but also he's streaky too, but he's more consistent than Moreland and Hanley Ramirez. I'll give the edge to Gary Sanchez. Now we go to Bogarts and Didi Gregorius. Bogarts had a down year. Gregorius had a pretty good season. I'll give the advantage to Gregorius. They were going off last year, going into this year. I think Bogarts is going to bounce back, but I'll give the advantage to Didi Gregorius. Devers, Aaron Hicks. That's a complete toss-up, but I'm going to give it to Devers. I think Devers can be a really good player, and the fact that he's a full-time player now at third base, I'll give the advantage to him. Now we look at Jackie Bradley Jr. against Drury. I'll give it to Bradley. And then you go Vasquez, Gleyber, Torres. Again, probably Torres. So 5-4 Yanks in terms of which lineup is better if we go 1 through 9. But if you go position by position, it could easily favor the Red Sox. It goes either way. So my point is, by giving you that esteemed breakdown, these lineups are so close. And then it's going to come down to the pitching staff. Red Sox obviously have Sale, Price, Porcello, Rodriguez, and Drew Pomeranz. To me, I think you get the advantage there. But it remains to be seen. It's going to be fun to watch baseball this year. Now the Red Sox have made a big signing. Yankees had the big move with Giancarlo Stanton. It's back to the arms race. Who's going to come out on top? And will one of these teams win the World Series or at least get there? I'd say these are your top two teams in the AL right now. Houston's still hanging around, though. Can't discount Houston. But I think this could be a Yanks-Sox year. It's going to be very entertaining. I wanted to talk about the NBA All-Star Game, too. As baseball, we're not even in now we're in spring training for baseball. Pitchers and catchers reported. Rest of the teams are now there. Martinez actually reported today for the Sox, getting his physical today. So when we get into the actual spring training games and we're approaching opening day, we'll get more baseball. But I want to talk about the NBA All-Star Game as well, because that had the new format this weekend where the top two vote getters were the two captains. So that was LeBron and Steph Curry. They drafted their teams, and there was an incentive to win. The winner got the big payout. Does this make an All-Star Game better? This will make All-Star Weekend better. I'll be honest with you right now, folks. I didn't watch a lick of NBA All-Star Weekend. I didn't watch any of it. I actually tuned in to the All-Star game near the end because it was close. And it wasn't 200 to 202. Again, it was about 150 to something. I got to find it now. Team LeBron won 148 to 145. Still an absurd score. They took the conferences out of it. I like this format because you're drafting. I think the NBA could score gold next year if they televise this player draft. It was entertaining. And plus, you give the players to play for something in terms of you give him the incentive to win more money if you win the All-Star game. It was more competitive. We saw defense, and I love seeing my guy Joel Embiid in the game as well. I love that. Him and his quote-unquote feud with Westbrook, whether it's, kind of it's on for the crowd or it's actually real. It was cool to watch a little bit as I watched the highlights, and I did tune into the end of the game. Embiid made a 3, blocked Westbrook. Fun to watch. Guys actually tried for this game. And you saw at the end of the game how much of a defensive effort it was from Team LeBron to shut down Steph Curry and basically trap him into a corner to win the game. Does this work? I think it works, but is it really going to improve the All-Star game? Does it really improve the All-Star festivities unless you're a big basketball fan? Like I said, I didn't watch any of the All-Star game until the end. I didn't watch any of the festivities. I didn't watch the dunk contest, three-point contest, skills challenge. I caught some of the highlights on Twitter. And I think that has something to do with it when we're in the type of society now with social media. You don't have to watch this stuff. You get it on social media. You get the best parts on social media. Especially for things like All-Star Weekend for the NBA. Nobody cares. It doesn't mean anything. And this was a late All-Star break. I mean, basketball is going to resume Thursday, tomorrow. But this All-Star game means nothing aside from the winning team getting paid a little more. That's it. Other than that, this means nothing. Does it improve the format, or does the format change improve the game a little bit? Probably. Gives you a better quality contested game. Is it still lackadaisical on defenses at some points? Absolutely. Considering both teams were pushing 150 on a regular NBA game, maybe about 110, which is a lot of points. You get like a 110 to 102 score, 100 something to 90 something. You get to the playoffs too. Sometimes you get those 95, 92 games. This is not a defensive contest here. Was it better than last year? Absolutely. Does the format change help? I think it does. But does it really give the incentive to watch this game a little bit more? Maybe, because you see East and West stars team up a little bit, but unless you're a big, true fan of the NBA, I really don't see how this really improves it much, considering the game is still in the middle of the season. Breaks up it doesn't necessarily break up the flow of the NBA season, but people always wait for the All-Star game because that is where the NBA season really starts. There's about 25 games left until we hit the playoffs. This is now where the season starts. Season starts now. All-Star festivities are over. Now people tune in. There's no more football. Baseball hasn't started yet. And if you like hockey, you're watching hockey too. But now, this is where basketball really starts. People will now tune in. So to me, format change or not, basketball All-Star festivities don't really do much for me. I don't think they do much for the fans either, unless you're a big basketball fan. As simple as that. Season starts now for basketball. Now it's entertaining. Well, that's going to do it for me. Thank you, Mike Antosiewicz, who's on the train now. Thank you to all of you for listening. Make sure to keep it locked for further programming, as we'll be back next week from 7:45 to 9 a.m. every Wednesday. Keep it locked for further programming here on 88.7, as you've been listening to The Opening Drive on 88.7 FM and also WRSU.org. Have a good day, everybody.